Hello, my name is Andrew Bay, and I will be talking about the criminal justice communication and how we can improve it. My specific goal is to help the audience better understand the need for improved communication in the criminal justice field. In my speech, I want to understand the current problems regarding communication, the overall steps we need to take to improve communication, and then the hopeful big picture outcome looks like with proper communication. Ever since I was little, I've always wanted to help people, whether it was feeding, homeless, people in need, or, protecting and serving. I just wasn't quite sure exactly what I wanted to do until I looked into the criminal justice major once I got into college. Once I started looking into specific disciplines, I better understood specifically what I wanted to do, and that was into probation and parole. Of course, working in probation and parole, there is certain levels of communication you need, whether it's communication from department to department or just knowing the laws and, the basic fundamentals. As of course, working in probation and parole is still what I want to do, but now I realize some possible eye-opener things I can help fix once I'm into the actual position. Knowing how to communicate properly is something that needs improvement in every field. Just understanding the small things can lead to a more healthy and productive work environment. As I take my required criminal justice courses, we talk about the certain essentials and respect you need for when you work in the field. But as I review my sources, you could tell that such practices aren't being held up in real life today. There are many problems regarding communication in the workforce, but there are also simple and repeatable methods to improve and maintain better communication. The current problem with communication, as you may have seen in the news, of course, there's a lot of tension and pushback regarding the police force, the government, and anything related to criminal justice. The biggest factors for these mistakes and scandals are all traced back to lack of communication or just being plain dumb. According to NPR, improve police communication. They use George Floyd even as an example. Of course, even with the large scale that the person might have not been taught properly, or just even the cop standing next to the guy that was, pressing on his neck, just being like, hey, whoa, there's no need for that, and when there's clearly not. I mean, that was a vital part that could have ended the guy's life. And also, not only does it talk about normal communication, but it also enacts with like online communication, technology, how the privacy acts work, and everything like that. The harsh reality of cops fighting crime online. One of the biggest struggles for the police force is currently the high amount of crime on the web. Due to the lack of task force and equipment, it's almost impossible to trace and catch criminals online. Ever since probably past the early 2000s, we've used an increasingly amount of technology, which also brings on, everyone's more connected in their own kind of way, but it also brings a lot on the police to, since we're all connected, it also leaves you more vulnerable to cybercrime. And while we are improving such technology as like the body cams and like thermal heat signature, that's all in-person stuff. We're not improving the task force they might need, specific variables that might be involved with catching cyber crime, and just knowing how to fight that. Maybe even the police academy, maybe extending a month and learning how to fight cybercrime. The privacy communication issue. This brings us to our older laws that are still in place today. And while some of them do still make sense, there are some that really just inhibit us from catching criminals online. The Privacy Act was issued in 1985, makes it impossible for police or private investigators to track and find anyone using technology. Even if they had proof that someone is doing something fishy, companies like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, they have their own rules and policies, which of course, need to uphold privacy for citizens. But if there is almost unreasonable doubt that someone is doing something, connecting with a minor in some kind of sexual way, or doing drug deals online, that kind of stuff. I mean, there has to be, there can't be a platform for Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram can't be a platform for crime, So now knowing that we know the main issues currently with technology and communication regarding the police force, we can now talk about possible solutions to fix that technology. Steps for overall communication improvement. The first step to overall communication improvement is to improve the laws. In today's society, media is the main form of communication. If needed, police and government should have access to messages and information on social media. Of course, if they have great deals of suspicion or evidence. We need to improve the technology that is granted to investigators and the police. The fact of the matter is, right now, technology is outdated, and police just can't keep up with the amount of cybercrime is being committed because it's easy for criminals to do. And since everyone has technology, it's just easy to do, and they can get away with it. The local police are even in a worse situation. For example, if someone came down and went to the police station and said, hey, I just got mugged, someone stole $1,000 on me. The police would be like, let's send 5 guys and find this dude, and there'd be a whole thing about it. If some person walked in and asked, hey, I just got my identity stolen, and someone stole $1,000, well, you're in a tough spot. The police can't do anything about that. They don't have the technology. They don't have the skill set. And plus, the only people you could reach out to, there's like an FBI online website, but that deals with hundreds of thousands of cases every year, and they only pick out the most important ones that are like detrimental to, the U.S. This is the hardest change to make, but it's definitely possible, and it should be obvious. As I was growing up, with a lot of people that go into college feel the same way. Police, we kind of looked at them as role models, as people that served and protected. And of course, there's bad people out there. There's uneducated, dumb people like the person that mistakenly killed George Floyd. And there still needs to be tons of problems, and that there needs to be fixes in our certain fields. At the same time, though, there are still tons of people putting their lives on the line for us. They're here to protect and serve, and overall, that's exactly what they do. With the approval of people, there'll be no limits to what police or government officials can accomplish. As these changes seem like a lot, overall there'll still be bumps in the road. But the complete picture is too great to decline, and will bring us all closer together and be safer. The hopeful picture with the necessary steps. With the proper steps being completed, the picture will be a nation better off with protection from the people that care and want to see us protected. So, police protecting us. Let's see here. According to the U.S. Justice Department, Neighborhood Watch brings down selected crimes in neighborhoods by up to 16% nationwide, which is incredible. And that just shows the amount of communication being, enacted in the neighborhoods. People keep their eyes open, then inform the police, and people are put away for bad behavior. Honestly, just the sign itself that, hey, this community is protected by Neighborhood Watch really just does. People don't want to mess with that because there's people on site. Just call the police. We have cell phones. It's easy. Which is just incredible. It just shows you how much communication can alter, and help deter crime. With better technology and communication, we can determine that the world would be safer and more efficient. As when being a criminal becomes harder, you will see people slowly start to move to a more civil life. Being a criminal is, being a criminal is easy. You can sell drugs and make tons of money. People that don't have any other desires will go to that. Conclusion. We have talked about the current problem with communication, the criminal justice field, and how to improve communication and technology, and what the world would be like without proper communication policies put into place. The world would be better with communication, and it would be more safer and more efficient with protection and less criminals. Being able to stop human trafficking, drug trade, and smuggling in this country would be huge, and it would be huge for the overall safety of America. Overall, a nation would see drastic improvements with not too much work. Of course, I want to see the field I'm interested in improving, but all around these changes need to be made. Any change to better our country and the lives is a change we need to embrace. Together, we can protect our children and our families. Thank you.